Top 10 Most Watched Movies on Netflix. Hello lovely YouTube family, welcome back to TV Explosion. In today's video, we are going to talk about top 10 most watched movies on Netflix. Before we start, hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. 10. Six Underground. In 2019, 83 million viewers tuned in to watch Michael Bay's streaming debut, and it was predictably ripped apart by critics. Six Underground stands at just 36% on Rotten Tomatoes, which places it squarely in the middle of Bay's filmography review-wise. So if you're a fan of the director's trademark frenetic action stylings, this is right up your alley. If not, well, you probably weren't one of the 83 million people who watched this anyway. 9. Spencer Confidential. Hollywood power partners Mark Wahlberg and director Peter Berg have produced some hits based on true events action movies your dad will enjoy. Think Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon, and Patriots Day. Yet Spencer Confidential didn't earn the raves of those three aforementioned efforts, putting it more in line critically with their previous Netflix outing, Mile 22. A 37% Rotten Tomatoes score didn't stop 85 million people from watching this retrograde cop movie, making it one of the streamer's biggest hits. 8. Murder Mystery. Adam Sandler's Happy Madison Productions signed a lucrative deal with Netflix in 2014 that has produced some of the comedian's most widely viewed films, leading to an extension of that contract in 2020. The most watched among them, Murder Mystery, brought in 83 million pairs of eyeballs, which in box office terms would make it a financial success on par with The Waterboy. It also earned pretty decent reviews relative to most Sandler comedies, to the extent that a 44% Rotten Tomatoes score is good. 7. The Midnight Sky. Critical reactions to George Clooney's sci-fi epic are split firmly down the middle, hence its 50% Rotten Tomatoes score. That mixed response perfectly fits this mixed bag of a movie which earned 72 million viewers and an Oscar nomination for its visual effects. 6. Project Power. As the summer of 2020 dragged on and it became increasingly clear that the pandemic would keep theaters closed, audiences increasingly turned to stream services to get their blockbuster kick. So it's little wonder that 75 million people watched this high-concept action thriller when it dropped on Netflix that August, even if the 61% Rotten Tomatoes rating hints at a mixed response. In an era of Marvel and DC obsession, Project Power imagines a scenario in which anyone can become a superhero by taking an experimental drug. The catch? The effects only last for 5 minutes, and there's no telling what superpower you might gain or whether you'll use it for good or evil. 5. Bird Box. Seems like only yesterday the Bird Box challenge was sweeping the nation, causing Netflix to issue a public plea for people to stop walking around blindfolded. Released during the holiday season of 2018, it does for eyesight what A Quiet Place did for noise. Like that horror hit released the same year, it was a sensation, inspiring 89 million viewers to drop their blindfolds and watch. Adapted from the novel by Josh Malerman, it stars Sandra Bullock as Mallory, an expectant mother whose fears of becoming a parent are quickly set aside for an even greater terror, unexplained mass suicide. It seems that an unknowable entity is causing people to see something that drives them to commit violent acts of self-slaughter. Mallory takes refuge with a group of survivors, a hodgepodge of great performers including Trevante Rhodes, Jackie Weaver, Little Ray Howery, and John Malkovich. 4. Extraction. With 99 million viewers, Extraction is the most watched film in Netflix's history, and there's certainly a good reason for that. The film hit the streaming site in April 2020 as the coronavirus pandemic was forcing the closure of movie theaters across the country. So it was perfect timing for audiences stuck at home hankering for some action thrills. With numbers like that, you'd think it would have to be one of the greatest entertainments of all time, right? Well, not necessarily. Critical reaction was mixed at best, with a 67% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. But the high viewership was enough to justify a sequel and perhaps even a franchise. So here's hoping the law of diminishing returns doesn't apply. 3. Army of the Dead. Props to Zack Snyder for dominating the streaming services in early 2021. The same year his 4-hour director's cut of Justice League hit HBO Max, the director released this grisly horror flick on Netflix. It didn't take long for Army of the Dead to crack the streamer's top 10 most viewed films, racking in a staggering 72 million viewers. As is often the case with Snyder, reactions were sharply divided, although the 68% Rotten Tomatoes score places it in the top half of his filmography from a critical standpoint. Considering Snyder's first film was a remake of George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, it's only fitting he would return to the zombie genre one day. As was the case with that film, this one pays tribute to Romero's work while adding the Snyder touch, which is to say, an aggressive visual style with flashy camera work, frenetic editing, and of course, a lot of slow motion. 2. The Old Guard. One of the surprise hits of the pandemic summer was this unconventional comic book flick that was able to find an audience hungry for some action fun when all the major blockbusters got delayed with the closure of theaters. When The Old Guard hit the streaming site in July 2020, 78 million viewers tuned in, with interest undoubtedly piqued by sterling reviews, 80% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and good word of mouth. 1. Enola Holmes. Have you ever found yourself asking what would happen if Sherlock Holmes had a teenage sister? Well, the answer is a Netflix smash that raked in 76 million viewers during the fall of 2020, when homebound audiences were still searching for some entertainment during the pandemic. It's also one of their most critically acclaimed titles, with a certified fresh 91% Rotten Tomatoes rating. That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing video from us.